Om Sadashiva
सदाशिवसमारम्भां
Shankaracharya Madhyamam
आचार्यमध्यमाम्
Madhvacharya
अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तं
Vande Guru
वन्दे
Paramparam
गुरुपरम्पराम्।
Om
ॐ
Sahana
ॐ
Vatu
सहना भवतु
Bhunaktu
सहनौ
Saha Viryam
भुनक्तु सह
Karvavahai
वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा
Vidyavadhyatamadvidrashavahai
विद्विषावहै
Om Shanti
ॐ
Shanti
शान्ति
Shanti
तत्सत्
Om Tat Sat, Om Namah Shivaya.
शिवाय
So we are on verse number 75. Please unmute yourself and we will chant. Yatha vriksha viparyaso
यथा वृक्षविपर्यासो
jalad bhavati kasyachit
जलात् भवति
जलाद् भवति
कस्यचित्
कस्यचित्
advat atmani dehatvam
तद्वत्
तद्वत्
आत्मनि
आत्मनि
देहत्वम्
देहत्वम्
pasyat yajnana yogataha.
पश्यत्यज्ञानयोगतः
So more examples are being given of how one mistakes the mithya for satyam. So he says, yatha jalat kasyachit, as someone, kasyachit, jalat, in the water, viparyasaha vrikshaha bhavati, sees the tree which is actually standing quite straight on the ground, but is seen upside down in the water. So when you look at a lake and the tree is behind you, you will find the tree is upside down in the water, though the tree on the normal ground is normal. So that is the way that the tree which is actually straight is taken as inverted. Similarly, tadvat atmani dehatvam pasyati ajnanaha yogataha. So pasyati ajnana yogataha is broken into pasyati ajnana yogataha. Yogataha is, yoga is the junction of the association. Therefore, ajnana yogataha, because of the association with ajnanam, with ignorance, what happens? In the same manner as you see the inverted image of the tree, you see what? You see the body as the Atma. So because of the ajnanam, what happens? The conscious Atma is seen as inert. The nirguna Atma appears as saguna body. The niravyaya, the one which has no parts, appears as savayava, one which has got parts. And therefore, the non-understanding of the truth is because of ajnanam. So he says, tadvat atmani dehatvam pasyati. Why? Ajnana yogataha. Because of the association with ajnana. Now this last line is going to be repeated over the next 10 verses. Only the first line changes. So we will quickly run through them. No new teaching is there. It's all just to drive home the point that it is only because of ajnanam that you are seeing what is mithya as the satya. So we look at verse number 76. We will chant. Potena gachatah pumsah
पूतेन
भूतेन
गच्छतः
गच्छतः पुंसः
sarvam bhativa chanchalam
सर्वं
सर्वं
भाति
भातीव चञ्चलम्
tadvat atmani dehatvam
तद्वत्
तद्वत्
आत्मनि
आत्मनि देहत्वम्
pasyat jnana yogatah
पश्यत्यज्ञानयोगतः
pumsaha, the person, the man, potena gachatah. Potaha is a boat or a small vessel which goes on water. So potena gacchataha pumsaha, the man who is traveling on the boat, on the water, to him sarvam chanchalam bhati eva. Everything appears to be as if in motion. That eva is important. Everything is not in motion, but it appears to him. Sarvam bhati chanchalam eva. Everything appears to be in motion for the person who is traveling on the boat. But what is really in motion? The boat is in motion. The shore is there, the trees are there, and the buildings are there. But it appears as if all these are moving. Why? Tadvat atmani dehatvam pasyati ajnana yogataha. Similarly, because the satyam is what? The trees, buildings, the shore is not moving. Only the boat is moving. Therefore, due to the fact that you are unable to understand it is a boat which is moving, you take the buildings as moving, you take trees as moving. And this you can see in the train also. If you are actually lying down in the train and looking outside, sometimes the train starts with almost no jerk. So if another train is standing outside, what will you think?
The train is moving.
The other train is moving. You
Other
won't think
train
that
is
your
moving.
train is moving. So because of what? Because you don't know that your train is moving. And therefore, tadvat atmani dehatvam. A person entertains the idea that I am the body, not the atma, because of ignorance only. Now we go to verse number 77. The second line is still the same. Pitatvam hi yatha shubhre
पीतत्वं यथा
पीतत्वं हि
शुभ्रे
यतः शुभ्रे
दोषाद् भवति कस्यचित्
दोषात्
दोषाद्भवति
भवति कस्यचित्
तद्वत् आत्मनि देहत्वम्
तद्वत्
तद्वत्
आत्मनि
आत्मनि देहत्वम्
पश्यत्यज्ञानयोगतः
पश्यत्यज्ञानयोगतः
So yata kasyachit, just as somebody. Now dosha here, dosha simply means defect, but because of the uh, reference, because of context, you have to take it as a defect in the eye. So either color blindness or jaundice or whatever, right? So shubhre pitatvam bhavati. What does it mean?
That which is white appears to
White
be
looks
pitva, yellow.
yellow.
That which is white appears yellow. What is the true color? It is white. But because
Shubhre.
of the jaundice, that shubhraha, that white appears yellow. So apparent appearance of the color of yellow color is due to a defect in the eye, in the pramana. Similarly, tadvat atmani dehatvam pasyatyajnana yogataha. The perceiver constantly thinks that I am the body and not the atma. So we're going quickly because there's not much to explain. These are all very nice examples which we can meditate over in Nididhyasanam to drive the idea deeper. Verse number 78. Chakshurbyam brahmashilabhyam
चक्षुर्भ्यां
चक्षुर्भ्यां
भ्राम्यमाणाभ्यां
भ्रमशीलाभ्याम्
sarvam bhati brahmatmakam
सर्वं
सर्वं
भाति
भाति भ्रमात्मकम्
tadvat atmani dehatvam
तद्वत्
तद्वत्
आत्मनि
आत्मनि
देहत्वम्
देहत्वम्
पश्यत्यज्ञानयोगतः
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 So, Brahmasilabhya. Supposing you are standing on a moving platform and somebody makes the platform go round and round and round. When it stops, what happens?
You see everything
You're still
always.
going round and round.
Yeah, your head is still dizzy.
Yeah,
And
going round.
because the head is dizzy, your eyes also don't perceive anything. Okay. So, Brahmasilabhyam, because of the fact that the head is dizzy, Chakshubhyam, the eyes are also disturbed. And therefore, what happened? Sarvam bhati brahmatmakam. Everything around me also is spinning. Right? What is the truth? Nothing is spinning. The movement has been your, what do you call, whole bodily um, posture has been disturbed because of the round and round movement which you underwent. So the movement of the objects around you now is an apparent movement only because your head is dizzy. Things are not moving at all. These are being perceived with eyes which are no longer reliable because of the fact that you have gone round and round. Your blood is still moving in circles. Similarly, tadvat atmani dehatvam pasyat yajnana yogataha. Any questions so far? We are going quickly because they are just simple ideas which have to be digested. Okay. Verse number 79. Alatam brahmanenaiva
Alatam
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 brahmanenaiva
vartulam bhati suryavat
Vartulam
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 bhati
Suryavati
suryavat
Suryavat
tadvat atmani dehatvam
Tadvat Atmani
Vat
Dehatvam
atmani dehatvam
Atmanidehatvam
pasyatyajnana yogataha.
Pashyatjnana
Jnana
Yogataha
yogataha.
So, then a very nice example. Alatam. Alatam is a,
Full Chadi.
you can take it as full jadi for ease of understanding. Basically, it's a wooden piece on which there is a fire at one end, a fire brand. You can take it as a full jadi. Everybody knows what a full jadi is? I hope.
Sparklers.
That's
Yes.
sparkler. Right. So, what happens when you hold one sparkler in your hand and make it go round and round and round and round?
It appears there's a circle that forms when you.
It appears there is
Yeah.
a circle. So, Vartulam is the circle. So you can see two words. Alatam is the firebrand or the full or the sparkler. Vartulam is the circle. Alatam Vartulam Bhati. The firebrand or the sparkler is actually only a small little thing with a little fire at one end. It appears to be circular. Suryavat, like the sun. Why? Brahmane naiva. Because of incorrect understanding. Brahma is there. If you are not seeing that the head is moving the sparkler up, go round and round, you will focus only on the circle and you will think there is a circular piece of fire. Brahmane naiva, because of Brahma only, because of incorrect understanding only. Tadvat atmani dehatvam pasyat ajnana yogataha. So also a person on account of ajnanam perceives himself, the Atma, as the body. So any questions, please ask in between the verses. Verse number 80. Mahatve sarvavastunam
Mahatve
Mahatve
sarvavastunam
sarvavastunam
nutvam hyati durataha
Anutvam
Anutvam
bhati
hyati
durataha
durataha
tadvat atmani dehatvam
Tadvat atmani
Tadvatmatmanidehatvam
dehatvam
pasyadhyajnana yogataha.
Pashyatyagyanayogatah.
Jnana yogataha.
Another example, which is which is a very common example. Mahatve sarva vastunam. So supposing something is very large, but it is far away. right? For example, you take the galaxies. It's very far away. How do they appear? They appear very small. Some of the stars which you see as a small little sparkle, they are thousands of times bigger than the earth itself, or even bigger than our sun itself, right? So sarvastuna mahatve, all the things which are far away, anutvam hyati durataha, because they are far, anutvam, they appear to be very, very small, right? And some of the galaxies are thousands of light years away, but we look at it and say, oh, what a small little pretty star. They are huge,
Mm.
right? In fact, some of the they are not even measured in miles; they are measured in light years. The galaxies, if you see, if you read a bit on the internet, the size of the galaxies cannot be measured in miles or kilometers. They are measured in light years. A light year is what?
The time taken by the light to travel that distance.
To reach the eyes.
A light year is not a measurement of time, okay? Light year is a measurement of distance.
Yes.
Light year means the time taken, not time, the distance traveled by light in 1 year. So you can imagine what is the distance traveled by light in, let us say, 1 second. Ooh, no physics. Antu will know. Not right.
Yeah, may I answer?
Forgotten.
Rather will definitely know.
Yeah, can I answer that?
Of course, of course.
3 into 10 to the power of 8 meter per second.
Okay, now you can multiply that and see. 3 into 10 raised to the power of 8 meters per second. Okay. So that enormous, right? A very rough thing is 186,000 miles per second. Very rough, but what Natran said is more accurate. And therefore, you can imagine how many miles it travels in 1 year. So that's why those galaxies are measured as light years. Okay. And in fact, if you look at some of the stars, you are seeing that they are there, right? You are seeing the stars are there, but actually speaking, the stars are so far away that what you are seeing is what was there several years ago, right? And some of the stars may actually have been destroyed through explosion also, but you still see it because the light is reaching only now. Okay. So mithya, real example of mithya, what you are seeing, but what is really not there. And therefore, tadvat atmadehatvam pasyat yajnana yogataha. Similarly, you think that the mithya body is satyam you. In fact, for those of us who are Vedantics, a good exposure to the distances of the galaxy, astronomy, all this is very important. You get to see, you get to understand the enormity of things. Makes you understand what is meant by large. You know that the word large itself is relative, right? When you say big, it's always a relative word. How?
Because it's always in comparison with
Yes.
something else.
So a big mouse is not the same as a big elephant, right? The idea of the big conveyed in a big mouse is different from the idea of the bigness conveyed in the big elephant. All these things we should understand. Okay, verse number 81.
Also, Raviji,
Yeah.
can this verse also be taken to highlight the fact that the self alone appears as everything, but we associate it with the body and seem to find it as a tiny speck. And we always keep saying, I'm a speck in the sea, I'm a speck in the universe. But it's this alone that appears as everything else, right? Appears in the sense, yes, like the projection.
Yeah. See, what happens is the finitude or the smallness of the reflecting medium
Right.
is attributed to the original reflected consciousness. So, because in a mirror, if you look at the sun in a mirror, you'll see it's a small sun. but actually
Right.
sun is very big. So when you're looking at the consciousness associated with the human body, then you are saying, oh, I am this small consciousness.
Hmm.
So that's the attribution which happens. And that is what he's saying due to Ajnanam, because you don't know that the body is a reflecting medium.
Right. Thank
Okay.
you.
Om Acharya.
Yeah, please.
This can also be used for expansion meditation when we think
Yeah,
about how much
of course,
space
of
and
course,
how much,
of course.
yes, yeah,
See,
widen up.
expansion meditation and all, I think by now you guys are far beyond that, okay?
Yes, yes,
So
we have
you should not be even,
done it years ago.
your meditation is now basically I am a Brahman only.
Yeah,
So
it is.
everything else is in me. Nothing is separate from me.
Right.
Okay. Verse number 81, we'll look at. Sukshmatve sarvabhavanam
Sukshmatve
Sukshmatve sarvabhavanam
सर्वभावानां
स्थूलत्वं चोपनेत्रतः
स्थूलत्वं
स्थूलत्वं
चोपनेत्रतः
चोपनेत्रतः
तद्वत् आत्मनि देहत्वम्
तद्वत्
तद्वदात्मदेहत्वं
आत्मनिदेहत्वम्
पश्यत्यज्ञानयोगतः
पश्यत्यज्ञानयोगतः
ज्ञानयोगतः.
See, one of the beauties of these verses is that you tend to at least refresh your memory about old Hindi words, okay? Now look at the last word of the first line. Chopa netrataha. Now you can break it up into cha upanetrataha. Or, so what is the upanetra?
Eyelid.
the lenses.
magnify.
Upa is
The
in the
lenses.
sense of
Right.
what
Similar
do you
to the
call?
Upanayanam, the word.
Uh, no, upa has many meanings. One is upa means close to.
Close.
Close.
What is close to your eyes?
The lens.
The lens. Okay, so upanetra is a something which is helps your eye see better. So upa here is the sense of closeness, but the upanetra, the meaning itself is that it is something which helps you see better. So you can take it as spectacles, but in the context, if you see, it has to be a microscope, another pair of lenses. Why? He says sukshmatve sarvabhavanam sthulatvam. The small one appears big when viewed through upanetra. Here sthulam is gross and sukshma is subtle, but subtle is taken as bigger than gross. So you take sthulam as small and sukshma as bigger. So sthulam looks bigger when seen through the upanetra, when seen through the lens, right? Similarly, tadvat atmani dehatvam pasyat yajnana yogataha. Similarly, because of ajnanam, you take yourself as the smaller one. Here, sukshma has to be taken as the atma. You, the atma, who are bigger, sthulam, you take yourself as smaller because you are seeing through the lens of what? Upanetra is what in the interpretation?
The senses, the five
The sense
senses.
organs. Your sense organs are the upanetram. You are seeing yourself through the upanetram, and therefore you think that you are the smaller one. So, whenever you see this world through sense organs, you are actually looking at a different world. But if you have to see the world through the eyes of Shastram, Divya Chakshuhu, then you will know that you and the world are not different. In fact, that the world is in you alone. So Divya Chakshu we saw where
Chapter 11.
Bhagavad Gita.
chapter 11. Okay.
Arjuna.
Verse number 82. Kacha bhumau jalatvam.
Kacha
Kacha bhumau jalatvam.
No, we'll have to rephrase that. Kacha bhumau jalatvam va.
Kacha
Kacha
काचभूमौ
bhumau
जलत्वं वा
jalatvam va.
Jalabhumau hi kachata.
Jalabhumau
जलभूमौ
nikachata
हि
Jalabuta
काचता
Tadvat atmani dehatvam.
Tadvat
तद्वत्
Tatvatmanidehatvam
आत्मनि देहत्वम्
Pasya jnana yogataha.
पश्यति ज्ञानयोगतः
So bhuma here is sheet, right? So kacha bhumau, a sheet of glass. What is it mistaken for? Jalabhumau is taken as a sheet of water. So kacha bhumau jalatvam, a sheet of glass is misunderstood as a sheet of water, and it doesn't stop there. Jalabhumau hi kachata. The sheet of water is also mistaken for a sheet of glass. Tadvat atmani dehatvam pashyati ajnana yogataha. So, self-explanatory. Now we go to verse number 83. Yadvad agnau manitvam hi
यद्वद् अग्नौ माणित्वं हि
manau va vanhitapaman.
मणौ वा
Vanhitapaman.
वह्नितापुमान्
Tadvat atmani dehatvam
तद्वत् आत्मनि देहत्वम्
pashyati pasyatyajnana-yogataha.
पश्यति
Pashyatyanyogatah
ज्ञानयोगतः
Yadvat agnau manitvam puman. So puman is subject over here. The person, what happens? Agnau manitvam. Don't say understands. Just as the person understands Agnau. Agnau is a glowing
Fire.
piece of fire. You can take it as a coal or a piece of wood which is caught fire and now only looking red, right? Glowing piece of anything, wood, coal, whatever you want to take it. So that is mistaken as a money, as a jewel by a person. And also the reverse happens. Manova Vannita. The jewel is also sometimes mistaken as glowing coal, little bit of fire. Why? Because of not knowing the true nature, and therefore only tadvat atmani dehatvam pasyapyajnana yogataha. Now, verse number 84. Abhreshu satsudhavatsu
अभ्रेषु
अभ्रेषु सत्सु धावत्सु
somo dhavati bhati vai.
Somo
सोमो
bhavati
धावति
bhati
भाति वै
Advat atmani dehatvam
Tadvat
तद्वत्
atmani
आत्मनि
dehatvam
देहत्वम्
pasyatyajnana yogataha.
Pashyatyagnanayogatah
पश्यत्यज्ञानयोगतः
Okay. Dhavatsu abhreshu satsu dhavatsu somo dhavati bhati vai. Okay. So what is abhreshu? Apaha bibharti iti abraha. Can you understand? Apaha bibharti iti abraha. What does it mean? Okay, let's look at it. What is bibharti?
up
up
modified.
Go ahead.
Clouds.
Apaha is water modified as cloud.
Bibharti is basically a supporter, right?
Something which is carrying the
So apaha bibharti, that which supports water or that which carries water, iti abraha, that is a cloud.
Cloud.
Okay, it means a cloud. So dhavatsu abhreshu satsu dhavatsu somo dhavati bhati vai. The cloud is moving and you are looking at the moon through the moving clouds. What is moving? Abhreshu dhavat satsu. In actuality, it is a cloud which is moving. But what happens? Somo dhavati bhati vai. It appears that the moon is moving. Right? So bhati here indicates appearance. Appears to move. It's not that somo dhavati. It's somo dhavati bhati vai. The moon appears to move, where actually the cloud is moving because of the wind. Tadvat atmani dehatvam pasyat yajnana yogataha. Okay. So that's verse number 85. Yathaiva dig viparyaso
यथैव
यथैव
दिग्विपर्यासो
दिग्विपर्यासो
मोहाद् भवति कस्यचित्
मोहात् भवति
मोहाद्
कस्यचित्
भवति कस्यचित्
तद्वत् आत्मनि देहत्वम्
तद्वत्
तद्वत्
आत्मनि
आत्मनि
देहत्वम्
देहत्वम्
पश्यत्यज्ञानयोगतः
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 यथ एव दिक् विपर्यासौ. Dik is a direction, and kasyachit, somebody, what has he done? Viparyasaha, he has made an error. Why? Mohat, because of delusion. Therefore, he says that when the person doesn't know one direction, what happens?
all directions
Any
are
direction.
unknown,
All
wrong.
directions you don't know, right? Unless you know which is the east. As normally we know which is the east because the sun tells us. But if the sun is not there on one day and you want to see the east, and east is not known, the other directions are not known. And here's a very subtle idea. Similarly, unless Atma is known, Atma is the one direction. What is not known? What are the other directions?
Do we mean the body mind
Anatma.
sense?
The
Anatma?
anatma. Anatma. Tadvat atmani dehatvam pasyati ajnana yogataha. Unless the Atma is known, you will make a mistake in regard to all the anatma. What is the mistake? You will consider that that is yourself and not the Atma. Okay. Verse number 8 is all very beautiful verses. Okay. I mean, this is very small, but very, very much worthwhile thinking about. Verse number 86. Yatha shashi jale bhati
यथा
यथा
शशिजले भाति
शशिजले भाति
chanchalat vena kasyachit
चञ्चलत्वेन
चञ्चलत्वेन
कस्यचित्
कस्यचित्
tadvat atmani dehatvam
तद्वत्
तद्वत्
आत्मनि
आत्मनि
देहत्वम्
देहत्वम्
पश्यद्यज्ञानयोगतः
पश्यत्यज्ञानयोगतः
Okay, so kasyachit, just as some person, yatha shashi jale bhati, just as when the moon appears in the water, what does the dog do?
Starts barking.
It starts barking. Why does it start barking?
because it thinks the moon is moving.
No, because it doesn't know that the moon in the water is a reflection and not the real moon, right? And therefore, that's a very nice example. Therefore, the person who sees the reflection of the mind, of the Atma in the mind. So you have to look at the other one also. Chanchalatvena. When the water is disturbed, what happens? The moon also appears to be disturbed. So suppose there is a wind and the water is disturbed, the moon also appears to be disturbed. So the first example I gave you about the dog is very simple. The dog doesn't know It's the moon, the real moon. I mean, doesn't know it's not the real moon, so it barks. But a person who is looking at the reflection of the moon in the water and is not aware that it's a reflection, when the water is disturbed by the wind, chanchalatvena, for that person, he thinks the moon is also moving. Similarly, tadvat atmani dehatvam pashyati ajnana yogataha. Not knowing that it is the original consciousness, you take the reflection in the body mind complex, the RC, as the OC. And whatever disturbances there are in the RC, chanchalatvena, when the body travels, it appears the RC travels. When the mind is disturbed, it appears that the Atma is disturbed. Right? Shastra says what? RC is only a manifestation, it's only a reflection. The removal or disturbance of the water can remove the RC or disturb the RC, but cannot touch the OC. The disturbance in the water in no way affects the moon. Similarly, the disturbance in the mind and the intellect in no way touches the real you, the Atma. And therefore, tadvat atmani dehatvam pashyati ajnana yogataha. Any questions so far? Okay. So the examples are over. So we'll go to verse number 87. एवम् आत्मन्यविध्यातो
एवम्
एवम्
आत्मन्यविद्यातो
आत्मन्यविद्यातो
देहाध्यासो हि जायते
देहाध्यासो हि
देहाध्यासो
जायते
जायते
स एवात्मपरिज्ञानात्
स एवात्मन्परिज्ञानात्
एवात्मपरिज्ञानात्
लियते च परात्मनि.
लीयते च
लीयते च
परात्मनि.
परात्मनि.
So a good question to ask here is, when the Rajju Sarpa, when the rope snake is seen, where should the enquiry be directed? At the snake or at the rope?
Rope.
Sure.
Yes.
Right. So the Sarpa perception, the snake perception, is because of the non-understanding of the rope. And similarly, the perception of body as I is due to the non-understanding of the real nature of I as Atma. Non-understanding of the real nature of Atma. So just as Rajju Jnanam, the rope knowledge, will make the snake go away, the body can go only when Atma knowledge is there. Thus, when I don't know that I am the Atma, the idea that I am the body and the mind and the intellect will persist. Okay. Now, this doesn't mean that when I know that I am the Atma, the body perishes. Right? The utility of the body will continue. Transactions with the body will continue. What perishes is the satyatvam of the body. One understands that the body and the world are mithya. One still transacts. But the reality, total reality attributed to the body and the world, that will vanish. I will know that I am the pure Atma, not touched by the world or any other matter in the world. Because I, Brahman, I pervade the whole universe. So he says, Evam, in this manner, Atmani avidyataha, because of the ignorance of the Atma, Deha adhyasaha hi jayate. The Deha Adhyasa, the Adhyasa that I am the body, that is born. And Saha Evam Atma Parigyanat. Sa Eva. On that very Anatma, Atma Parigyanat, when Atma is known as the very Anatma itself, that the very Anatma is dependent on the Atma, when that fact is known, Liyate cha paramatmanihi, aparatmanihi, liyate cha paratmanihi, the existence which was attributed to the Anatma is transferred back, liyate, resolves into the Atma. The body is not destroyed, the mind is not destroyed, the intellect is not destroyed, but the existence which you took as independent existence of the body and the mind, that notion is destroyed. And you know that the body and the mind and the intellect, that existence, they exist, but they exist having borrowed existence from me, the Atma, and therefore the existence is transferred back to the Atma. The body, mind becomes Mithya only. Okay. Then verse number 88.
Raviji,
Yes,
can I ask a small grammatical question here?
you can ask. But I'm not very
Uh,
sure I can answer it, but you can ask.
okay. When we say evatma parijnana liyate, so evat eva atman
Sa eva, that only.
yeah, sir. But I'm just taking that particular, the second word, sir. Eva parijnana. So here it is parijnana. So would it be parijnana aliyate or would it be parijnana liyate? Because
No,
when
it
we
is.
read the
Okay, let's look at the original. Parijnana, it's not. Parijnana. When you're saying,
correct,
I don't know which one you're saying, that the turns into ta. So, parijnanat.
okay.
Sa eva,
Jnanat,
that very same anatma, atma parijnanat liyate. It goes back, the existence goes back into the atma.
okay, so
Paratmani
is
liyate, you have to take as one as the connection. Paratmani liyate.
yeah. So is there a does the a get converted as the here? Jnanat liyate, or because there is a jnana.
Jnanat, there is a ta over there. Which
Okay,
are you
it's not
looking? Where
there
are you
in
looking?
the one which
Are
you
you?
sent on the group as well as the little book which is there.
1 minute, let me have a look
Swami
at that.
Muktananda's. Both the the is not there.
Just 1 second, let me have a look at the original text.
It's there. It's there.
There in the text.
There. We have in the text. It is there.
It's a double L. L. Nyanta is not there. No, Nyanat
No, no,
is
no,
not there.
it's no, Jnanat is there.
1 minute, I just have to look at the original one. Okay, hang on. Well, the one which I sent you, let me just have a look.
Parigyanat liyate.
Okay. Even in the okay, my version both show the L as double. The incorrect.
This is verse number, which one?
70.
87.
87.
Verse 87.
The original one has it because we all have taken a print from there only.
The one I've sent you has got evam saeva parigyanat liyate. In some version, if it's a double L, then the first L gets
Okay.
converted into ta. Okay, that is Sandhi rule.
Right. That's what I was trying to
Evam
understand.
atma parigyanal. It is right. That double la, one la is
Correct.
broken and gets converted to half ta.
So what is the Sandhi rule? How does it work when there is a
When this la is following the ta and they are joined, the ta also
okay.
gets converted into la. So it becomes a double la. Half la with full la.
Got it. Fine.
Okay, that I don't use much of that because most of us are not very good at Sanskrit. Even I am not. So let's whatever I've learned is only from studying. Okay, I don't have a formal education in
I have a
Sanskrit.
question.
Yeah, please.
So Acharyaji, this word paratmani liyate it refers to this intellectual understanding that and
Yes.
moksha.
Paratmani is Paramatma. Liyate is resolves into. What resolves into?
The
The existence which was Saeva, that allocated, understood as the Anatma existing separately. That existence, Paratmani Liyate, goes back into the, is taken as belonging to the Paramatma or Brahman.
Ji, thank you.
So also, Raviji, can this be verse also be interpreted as long as the Dehi looks outward, the projection will continue because he is not looking at the self, which is the substratum, the inward looking, gazing eye alone reveals the self to him. So the projection will, as of the samsara, of he as the body mind phenomenon, continues as long as he is outward looking
Looking out.
without.
Yeah. In fact, a good example of that is the 10th man story. I don't know if you all know that.
Yes.
Right. As long as the 10th man doesn't look at himself, he counts only 9.
Yeah.
I hope everybody knows the story.
Right.
Okay.
Yes.
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 Okay. So we go to verse number 88. Sarvam Atmataya Jnatam Jagat Sthavara Jangamam
Jagat
Jagat
Abhavat Sarva Bhavanam
Abhavat
Abhavat sarvabhavanam
Dehasya Chatmata Kutaha.
Dehasya
Dehasya chatmata kutaha.
Okay. So Sarvam Jagat, the entire universe, Sthavara Jangamam, moving and non-moving, which should be taken as sentient and insentient. The living and non-living universe, Atmataya Jnatam, has to be understood as Atma only. Consciousness alone is the substance. This is have to be understood. Why? Sarva bhavanam, everything else, all objects, abhavat, they don't really exist. Everything else is mithya. And that being so, dehasya chatmata kutaha. How can the body be the Atma? The world is non-substantial. It is mithya. Your body is mithya. Your mind is mithya. Your intellect is mithya. When the entire universe is only Brahman, Atma only, how can you say the body is Atma? This light, what do you call, subtlety in the understanding. If everything is Atma, can I say body is Atma? The understanding will lie in everything is Atma, right? But Atma is not everything.
Yes.
How do you take, for example, take the example of a necklace and a piece of gold or the gold, right? The gold is all the ornaments, but the necklace is not the gold. Can you understand that? Okay, fine. Let's put it another way. The essence, substratum, represents the entire products, but one product cannot be said to be the substratum. Because why? Substratum can also represent all the other products. That is what he's saying. You cannot say body is only the Atma, but Atma is everything. But if you say body is only Atma, then there is a problem. Mithya cannot be Satyam. There seems to be some sort of hesitation.
So an example of the water and the ice or water can be the vapor, water can be the block of ice, water can be, but vapor alone cannot be said to be a form of, can be the
You can
only,
say, yeah, only you have to add.
yes,
Vapor is water, but you can say only vapor is not water.
right.
You cannot say only vapor is water.
Not only ice is the only way that water exists.
Yeah, that you cannot say. But you can say water exists, all these. Okay. Now, we'll complete what this section will complete. This section, the 89th verse completes the last 40 verse separate section. Okay, so we'll just chant it out. Verse number 89. Atmanam satatam janan
Atmanam satatam
valam naya mahadyute
kalam
varabdham akhilam bhunjan nodvegam kartum arhasi.
no
So from 41st verse onwards, we had talked about a few things. The first lesson was that, the first discussion was that there is Atma, Anatma, Viveka. You have to first get that, separating the body and the mind as Anatma and seeing consciousness as different from mind and body. So first lesson was Atma, Anatma, Viveka, where we said that body-mind complex is different from Atma. Then we went on to refine that and said that the body-mind complex is not really Satyam, it is Mithya. The Satyam is I, the Atma, right? And once I have said that I am the Satyam and the body-mind sense complex is Mithya, then I am saying that the body-mind sense complex is something which is a lower level of reality that I. And therefore, just as the wave cannot destroy the water, because the wave is a form of water, it cannot destroy water. Similarly, I cannot be touched by Anatma because Anatma is just another form of me. The spark cannot damage the fire. The wave cannot destroy the water. Anatma cannot damage me in any manner whatsoever. So this was what we had seen in the last 40 odd verses, 45 verses. And now Shankara says, he's giving us advice. How should Shankara's viewpoint is that we are all jnanis at this point of time. So he's giving us advice on once having become a jnani, how should you spend the rest of your life? So Atmanam Satatam Janan. Keep this knowledge of the Atma as you in your mind all the time, right? Remember that you are there in the universe. From the Vyavaharika point of view, you, the Jiva, exist in the universe. From the standpoint of Vyavaharika, there are life problems which are serious, which can cause you sorrow. You have relationship problems, you have deaths of loved ones, you have deaths of people whom you liked. All these are problems of sorrow. But they all belong to Vyavaharika only. All problems belong to Vyavaharika. From the standpoint of Paramarthika Atman, there is no problem at all. Any body which gets destroyed, anybody who dies, has what has happened? I have been supporting that body. The body has completed its prarabdha, exhausted prarabdha. The body is no longer required. So the body has fallen. So from the standpoint of Paramarthika only, I can get a overall perspective, right? See, when, for example, there is a huge explosion of a big star, supernova it is called, it releases huge amounts of energy. If you are anywhere close Of course, if you're anywhere close, you'll get, you won't be there very long. That's a different matter. But from the cosmic viewpoint, from the overall viewpoint of the universe, that supernova is a non-event, right? Similarly, from the viewpoint of the Paramatma, everything is a non-event. Everything is in you only. So he says, Hey Mahadyute. So this Shankaracharya is addressing us. Mahadyute, the one who is the intelligent person. Oh, intelligent student. Kalam Naya. Spend your time. How? Usefully. Learn to shift the viewpoint. You cannot, at the Vyavaharika level, the Vyavahara drama, you cannot influence. Let it go on, right? Don't worry about the prarabdha of your body. How long will you survive? Do what you can to make your old age comfortable, but don't worry too much about it. Atmanam satatam janam. That is how you spend your time. Remembering this knowledge. Remembering the knowledge will not change life situations, right? A nagging spouse will continue to nag. A troubling child will continue to trouble. A health problem will not go away. Spouse problems will continue. But therefore he says, Prarabdam Akhilam Bunjan. You have to experience your entire Prarabdha. You have to live it out. Just because you're a jnani doesn't mean that you will have no bad experiences. You will have sukham, you will have dukham, you will have honor, you will have dishonor. But prarabdham akhilam bhunjan, you have to undergo them. Undergo the entire prarabdha, you have to undergo. But what? Na udvegam kartum arhasi. You should not be disturbed by those experiences. Experiences you cannot avoid, but you can change the response to your experiences. Right? It is like looking at the world from the window of a plane. Everything looks insignificant. The more you distance yourself from the world, the more everything is insignificant. So with this, we'll stop for today. Because from the next verse onwards is a completely new topic. So this one section is over. We'll stop for today. Any questions?
And Acharyaji, the aerial view is more fascinating. So we click pictures.
Yes, the aerial view is more fascinating. Everything appears so undisturbed and peaceful at a big distance. Oh,
Raviji?
sorry, go ahead. Yeah, Rajeshwari ji, go ahead.
Yeah. The shloka number 87, it's coming back again and again to me. So here, when one has to look inward, obviously the senses naturally by this drive a human being outward.
Yeah.
And therefore there are two possibilities, right? One is where he continues with the senses in the outer world, but he's realized that it is mithya and therefore they do not impact him anymore. He sees that it is a projection of his very self. But to reach to that state, there is a point where he perhaps needs to work by looking inwards. And, in a way, what I'm trying to say is that a certain discipline of cutting the senses away from excessive interaction in the outer world. I'm just...
It's not really necessary because, just pure sense control cannot get you any knowledge.
Yes, of course.
Right?
There
You
is
have to
no...
have Shastram.
Yes.
The Shastram which
no
shows
doubt.
you the inner world. But to
Yes.
be able to sit in front of Shastram, to be able to do Shravanam for hours on end, you need sensory discipline. So Sadhana Chatushtayam is to that effect. to
Yes.
give you the enabling mind to sit and study.
My point here is that if one continues to be engaged constantly with the study of Shastram as well, one continues to be engaged in the outer world, then this possibility of driving the senses inward becomes that much more difficult or challenging, because the very nature is outward engagement in various ways. Till one understands that even the outward engagement is the wave, which is nothing but the water. But till the
But
conviction and till that
practically, how will you do it? Like
stability,
if you
yeah,
have got a job to do, right?
that is exactly what
So
I'm
that is
trying to
why
ask.
we say that when you study or you set aside times. Ideally, you get up at 4 o'clock and set aside a time till 7 o'clock before anybody else has got up. Right? The world itself is not got up. So 4 to 7 is a beautiful time for you to look inwards and study. Your sense organs won't be looking outward because it is dark outside.
Correct.
So this is practical part of it. How will you find the time and the mental quietude to attend a class? And that's why we try to keep all our classes early morning.
Yeah. Perhaps initially that may be needed. Eventually, the senses automatically kind of stop connecting to what is not needed and just do what is
No,
needed.
even if you're a jnani, you cannot look at your wife and look through her. No, you won't get your breakfast in the morning. So you have to understand that she's also mithya, your body is also mithya, or better still understand that she's also Brahman, you're also Brahman. Your transactions are in Vyavahara. So that's the important point. Continue transacting in Vyavaharika with the firm understanding that I am Paramarthika. That takes time to come.
But isn't that like putting oil in the fire and then expecting the fire to say that you will subdue in time? Because the Vyavaharika naturally prompts you to, again, I'm talking about when one is in the path, in the
You
journey.
can, but as you journey onwards, the one of the first things which is told to you is that Vyavarika is mithya. So more than the I am Satyam understanding, I am Satyam understanding can never be reached unless you are very firm about I am Jagan Mithya. So in Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya, the first learning has to be Jagan Mithya. While you are in Jagan, in the Mithya Jagan, that is where the learning takes place. Once Jagan Mithya is there, then your transactions can go through without much of a problem.
Right.
Disturbance will be there, but you have to learn to handle.
So with the conviction of the Mithya Jagat, every transaction then simply becomes an observation to realize its limitedness and its Mithyatva.
Every
You reinforce
transaction
it
is
in the,
meant, every transaction is
yeah,
meant for, see, in the beginning you will say Jagan Mithya Brahma Satyam, Jagan Mithya Brahma Satyam. Ultimately, you will say there's nothing other than me. Transactions
correct.
taking place in Vyavaharika are also very much Brahman.
Right.
Because if Brahman is pervading everything, where is it? In fact, the word Mithya is the biggest Mithya. There is no such thing as Mithya. Everything is Brahman alone. But that's a much, much more advanced understanding.
Yes, there is nowhere to go. It is here and now.
Where can you go? You are here only.
Correct. Right.
In fact, I
Thank
remember
you.
one movie. If there was a Shiva movie, where this fellow is shouting at Shiva, saying that you abandoned me. What Shiva is replying about?
Shivoham.
I forget the movie's name. He says, "You abandoned me, oh Lord." He tells Shiva, and Shiva says, "How can I abandon you? I am everywhere. You only think I have abandoned you."
Nan Kadavul, I think it's a Tamil movie. Is it?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It's a Hindi movie I saw, but anyway. Okay, so with this, we'll stop for today. Thank you for your patience.
Yeah. I just want.
Oh, I think we are running out of time. I got another class coming up, so you can put your thing in the group. I will reply.
Yeah. No, just
Om
reminded
Purnamada
of another.
Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnam Eva Vasishyate Om
Om
Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Tat Sat, Om Namah
Om
Shivaya.
Tat
Thank
Sat,
you for your
Om Namah
patience.
Shivaya.
Om
Thank
Namah
you.
Shivaya.